Hi guys, Vince here once again, and today I'm going to be reviewing episode 1 of Netflix's new exclusive series, White Rabbit Project. So just before I start, a number of you, including myself, will be immediately familiar with our trio of hosts coming from the long-running cult favourite, which I believe is still also available on Netflix, Mythbusters, which focuses on a team of scientists and their support hosts in which they debunk myths and tackle perceived legends or scientific mistruths for accuracy. Our trio of Tori, Kari and Grant were previously our supports for Mythbusters, and it appears that the apprentice have become the masters in this case, with them now of course having this show of their own.
It's not only the end of this episode, it's not only the end of this season, it is also the end of an era. This was the very last episode of Mythbusters to feature the incredible trio of Kari, Byron, Tori, Belleci, and Grant Imahara.
That's right. This next season, we're going back to our origins with just Adam and me.
I'm going to take a brief moment to thank you guys for your incredible work over the last 10 years. You've given literally your blood, sweat, and tears in the name of science, and it has been a total pleasure not only to work with you, but to call you our friends.
We wish you the very best of luck. And thank you.
Bye, guys.
Those who do recognise them for this will of course have one burning question. Is it the same as Mythbusters? Well, for those of you who are wondering that, I'm happy to say, well, I suppose depending on your feelings there, that yes, White Rabbit Project is very similar and certainly scratches very much the same itch as Mythbusters. So if you enjoyed that, then you'll certainly enjoy this. And today we're going to be discussing what makes White Rabbit Project special. So what's the general aim and synopsis of the show? Well, the general aim of the show is to test, review and measure a range of new tech and conduct experiments to a set of criteria which varies from episode to episode. And in today's episode we'll be focusing on superpowers. So Superpowers of course provides plenty of inspiration and interesting points to tackle, ranging from mind control, invisibility and even flight. The team go away here individually and find separate powers to test and determine the best people, tech and ways to do so. It's a fairly straightforward formula and certainly quite similar to that of Mythbusters. However, it serves the team well and provides, certainly in this case, a number of opportunities to cover interesting insights, new research and developments, while also goofing around and not taking themselves too seriously. Performance and pacing. So, performances, were the trio any good? Well, I'm happy to say that the team is very well cast and have clearly developed a great and natural rapport together during their time on Mythbusters, and this really comes through in their ability to laugh, joke and mess around with each other in what feels a very natural way. Of course, the subject matter here is actually quite technical and could be very dry with shall we say, less charismatic group, but this is something they effectively managed to avoid, and they fit together nicely. All three of the team have their own unique personalities, and their ability to be frank with each other and kind of cut through the bullshit is a good quirk to the show, as well as it means that we're able to have an honest look at some of these experiments in tech, and that makes the results feel more meaningful, as opposed to the audience feeling left out and perhaps feeling that there's some things they're not telling us, or some ways in which the experiment went wrong, and which we're not seeing. So and to give you some examples there, looking at things such as practical applications, costs, usability was a specific criteria in this episode. So does it feel well paced? Well, in this episode, of course, the team have plenty of subject matter to cover, and I could see how that could be quite daunting. However, at no point did it feel as though the show slowed down or lost its way, despite what I believe is a 40-minute running time. One point I would make here, though, is that some of the experiments weren't really clearly outlined as to how they fit in, and sometimes that can sort of distract away from what we're trying to achieve here with the overall episode. Who's got the best superpowers? Who's got the best tech and things of that nature. Appearance and audio. So what does it look like? Well, the episode in this case takes place largely within, as you'd expect, within warehouses, labs, yards, and other places you would of course expect these guys to work. There are also a number of interviews with industry experts, and all of whom feel interestingly both quite confident and certainly credible as to their subject matter. Sometimes this can of course be difficult. I myself have worked in a healthcare and life sciences background, and sometimes the smartest guys aren't always the most confident, but here you can tell they have a real passion for what they're doing, and we're treated with things such as even a live flight test in Dubai with guys who have what they're calling, I believe, they're kind of like flying jetpacks, and a number of other stock footage elements of things such as Tesla's initial experiments with the Tesla coil. And this shows a very good level of due diligence, and also makes you feel as though these experiments and the show itself is very well thought out, as opposed to just thrown together. Some of these experiments are of course very visually impressive. You're playing with electricity, freezing items, and flying also really give you a feel of that these guys are playing with potentially very dangerous stuff. And the audio that goes along with this naturally is of course very interesting, and it brings you in to the show and makes you feel almost as though you're in there with them. So what's the atmosphere here? Well, again, the team that we've assembled here has a very good natural feeling, and their ability to talk both on a scientific level with sometimes fairly technical language, nothing really overwhelming, but quite technical language, but also break down what we're talking about and how these experiments work, why they're doing them, makes you really feel as though you're along for the ride with them, and all of the cast feels very relatable. There's every member of the team has their own different strengths, and it really provides for a very kind of relatable experience, similar to almost what you'd expect in a classroom with a good teacher, conducting his first chemistry experiment or first biology experiments. It has that kind of relatable, straightforward feel. So in summary, to any of you out there who have any kind of scientific or medical background or even interest, you'll find a lot of joy here as the trio are able to conduct some very impressive experiments while also being natural and having fun, and also going through some of the more technical aspects to show that there is some real meat on that side of things here, without leaving the average Joe side of the audience feeling in the dark. The rapport the team has developed here definitely helps, and I've discussed in previous episodes and reviews how a positive rapport, funnily enough particularly those in trios, i.e. the Ricky Gervais show, Top Gear for example, can make for a tremendous difference in giving you a relatable feel, and allowing these guys to drop their guard, and it provides what I call, my kind of tag for it is the three guys in a pub feeling, i.e. people who are just naturally enjoying themselves and just having fun together, which is very infectious. Even if you don't necessarily have an interest in science, I would still absolutely recommend checking this out, and I'd give it an 8 out of 10. And as there's a lot of fun to be had here, and the experiments are very interesting. For those that do have a particular interest in this subject matter and in science and mechanics and engineering and things of that nature, I'd absolutely give it a 9 out of 10, because certainly in my experience there's not a tremendous amount of other content and TV shows out there like this, and certainly not up to this standard with the sense of fun that's provided. It would be really great to see more shows like this out there as a side note, and those that do like shows that focus on science and things of that nature while also having a bit of fun. There's a British show called Brainiac, which was running a few years back now. I'm not sure if there's any episodes out there on the internet, but you may also have a lot of fun with that. Well, that just about wraps up everything for me here, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the review. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to drop a like and a subscribe to see more content like this, and let me know what you think of this. Would you like to see more scientific shows like this? Are there any that you know that perhaps others might not have heard of that you'd recommend? And what do you think of this formula of focusing on quite dangerous high-level experiments, but also in a more approachable way? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you again next time. Cheers.